So in today's video I thought I'd do something different. I've done a couple of minor different videos of late. I did a benchmark for my GTX 970 card. It was about two weeks ago, something like that. Which I've now sold and I've got a new card, but I will go into that at a later point. Anyway, today basically I bought a monitor a while back. I've been wanting to give it kind of a basic sort of review overview. Some options for you out there if you are looking for a monitor in sort of the 1080p sort of monitor range. So this is the you said Panasonic, huh? This is the ViewSonic XG3202-C. This is a 32-inch 1080p display with AMD FreeSync support. The refresh rate is 144 Hz, and it's got a response time of about 6 milliseconds. It's a panel type, so it's a VA, so it's a super clear VA panel. And the movement is, it's fairly limited. I suppose you've got option to tilt back and forth, and that's about it. But quite frankly, I personally don't need any more than that. I can adjust it by physically moving it if I have to. But you know, each to his own, I suppose. And it's 1800 R curved screen. So it's personal preference, I suppose. So it's got its good points and its bad points. I suppose the bad points for a lot of people is going to say, and I've read a lot of reviews on Amazon that clearly state this, is that you'd want 1440p at 32 inch at this resolution. Which is, you know, 27 inch is probably more ideal, but for me, I came from a TV, so I wanted something that was not that much smaller, but also fairly decently spec'd. But my counter argument to all of this would be that price-wise, it's not that bad. It's got a lot of the features that a far more expensive monitors would have. It's got a very clean and nice looking monitor. The bezel isn't too large, apart from at the bottom where it is a little bit larger. But you can find this on Amazon at the moment for £278. I picked mine up in July and it was $248. So shop about, you can find the deals, I guarantee it. So I mean, again, if you're a competitive gamer, then this isn't really for you. If you want the best of the best, you're looking at, from everything I've read and reviews I've looked into, probably a TN panel, and with probably, I don't know, 1 or 2 milliseconds response time. For things like Counter-Strike, Overwatch, esports titles in general, I would imagine, and Twitch shooters, so, you know, your CODs, your Battlefields. But yeah, so it's, the response time on this, as I said, is 6 milliseconds, which is fast enough for me. I don't tend to play a lot of competitive games anyway, apart from things like World of Warships and World of Tanks, but you don't need lightning reflexes for that, so you know. But yeah, on a budget, you'd probably prefer a 27-inch monitor, but this has got a lot going for it. You pair this with an AMD graphics card, and you can have, you know, tear-free gaming experience. Because tearing generally sucks while playing games. Something I've noticed as I've gone back to a lot of consoles like Xbox 360, playing Battlefield 3 on that back in the day. Looking back at it now, yeah, it's quite. It's not the nicest experience when you're tearing on the screen and stuff. But again, you know, consoles and PCs are similar in a lot of ways, but also very different in some key aspects. So, 144 Hz. So you probably, to power this monitor, I mean, an RX 580 is going to be more ideal for people on a budget. And for esports titles, you'd probably be hitting probably over the hundreds, I would imagine. You'd have to look into someone that's done benchmarks on that, but I would imagine so. So I would probably recommend pairing this monitor with a Vega 56 or a 64, which the prices of these have actually come down massively. because I saw a Vega 56 for... There's a couple on overclockers at the moment, and now I'm recording this on the 25th of the 9th, 2018, so yeah, you can pick them up for about £399, and that's a better deal than what I got for my GeForce GTX 1070 Ti, because it came with free games. So that's something I definitely recommend. But those are the kind of cards you probably want for sort of AAA games to at least get over sort of closer to that sort of 144 Hz. Again, I'm on a NVIDIA card, so for me, FreeSync, I can't use it, but the monitor's really, really good. It does everything other than the FreeSync you would really need. And again, given the fact that the RTX cards are ridiculously expensive, I mean, they're not. I don't care how amazing this technology is. It ain't worth the money if the consumer can't afford it. Now, there are going to be people that say, yeah, sure, well, I can afford it. Fair enough, you can afford it, you can afford it. But the prices on these cards are mad. They're just NVIDIA and living on cloud 9. I don't know where the hell they get these prices from, because they're just too expensive. But the performance is only really there with the TI, the RTX 2080 Ti. So, and the performance on that is mad. You're talking, I think it's over 60 frames a second at 4K, which is very, very impressive. But the prices are just ludicrous. They're absolutely ludicrous. But if you can afford it, I guess I envy you. So, but it'll be interesting to see the RTX 2070 performance, which I believe is out. I believe it's sometime in October. But even that is retailing at, I think, in the UK it's £569, and that's for the. It's not the Founders Edition now, is it? What it's called? It's the base NVIDIA stock cards, which from what the fan shrouds and the actual casing is a lot. It looks a lot better than the previous Pascal graphics cards. So, be interested to see what the performance of that is like. But still, it's way too expensive. But yeah, that's gone a bit of a tangent there, I suppose. But that's basically the ViewSonic monitor. I think it was a steal at 248 quid. It does everything I need it to do. It looks nice. It's curved. And as I said, you pair it with an AMD graphics card, and you've got tier 3 gaming. Depending on obviously on what the game you're playing and your frame rate. But even on lower end hardware, you should get a good thing out of it, because it's just good, good value. There are cheaper ones out there. And in fact, when I did this review, when I actually researched this monitor the other day, I actually came across a couple of other monitors which some are actually better than this now. There's a Samsung, God, look at that, then LC27JG52QQ UXEN 27-inch, and there's a 32-inch, and they're both 2560 by 1440, and they've both got 144 refresh rate on Amazon at the moment, but they don't have FreeSync support, and they have a 4 milliseconds response time, and they're retailing at £309 British and £359 British for the 32-inch. So that's always a consideration, but I would, if you're looking for something that's budget but has most of the features. Oh, and anyone considering a G-Sync monitor, good luck. The only ones I've seen are in the 24-inch range, and you're still talking $299 plus, probably over £300. And they're TM panels. So some people don't like TM panels, some prefer IPS. It really is completely dependent on the person, really, to what you prefer. If you want faster response times, or do you want better viewing angles? So it's a mass load of things to consider. But and VAs, from what I've read, are sort of in the middle, so they're not the best. but not the worst. So, but you know, as I said, I'm not a competitive gamer, so I don't really need that fast response time. But I mean, 6 milliseconds it's fairly it's fairly sort of, well, I don't notice it, but maybe you will. And there is also a 1440p version of this particular monitor, but it is substantially more expensive. So you're talking, for the 1440p of this monitor, you're talking £429. It's got the same features, but it's got a 3 milliseconds response time. So, you know, again, there's a lot to consider when you get a monitor. And for anyone that says, oh, I can get a TV for that price, or half that, or less than that price, like, yeah, sure, you can. And I used to believe this personally myself. And there goes the door. TVs, most TVs, they don't offer the same level of performance. I haven't used my TV since buying this monitor, but I imagine if you go back and you use a TV and then use a monitor with some of the bells and whistles, you will find, unless you're not really that bothered, which is fair enough, you will find that there'll be a great deal of lag in comparison. I noticed it on things like, little things like Sonic Mania, which I play my PS4 through a monitor now, because it's just a far more smooth experience. It's just, in every way, it's just nicer. But again, you know, TVs are an option, I suppose. But anyway, I'm going to stop rabbiting on. So that was the ViewSonic XG3202-C, and I hope I provided you with some information and didn't rabbit on too long. So anyway, thanks for your time.